Looking at UVTV, motherfucker. I'm here to kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Nia, nigga, for feather me in. Today I'm going to be talking about how to point out when someone is delusional. Now, just in general, when it comes to delusions, just in general, if I want to really make this mad simple for y'all astrology motherfuckers out there and stuff like that, all you got to do is find out what sign is their Neptune in for the most part. All you have to find is their Neptune placement and what sign is in, and also what house is in. Because the minute you find the house is going to show the household and where they feel comfortable and at home to do that energy in. And then the sign is just going to be that symbol or that that sigil and stuff like that, that face, that representation of how it's going to be seen and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So for y'all astrology motherfuckers out there, that's how you find that shit. Now, beyond just astrology motherfuckers and stuff like that, because motherfuckers probably gonna hear that and think I'm talking all pseudo and stuff like that. Here's how to identify the different behavior and characteristics. And I wrote a lot of shit down and stuff like that to actually break down what it means to actually be delusional and how you can transform and transmute that energy and stuff like that into some type of creativity and imagination. Because delusions are just based upon illusions. When you try to deify or like decompress that illusion and you start getting lost into that specific illusion or that fantasy realm and stuff like that, but you can transmute it and transform it into some type of creativity or imagination and stuff like that based upon that vision and that aspiration, that mental image of something you're trying to manifest and materialize into reality to make it, you know what I'm saying, make it look like it's possible, make it look like it's real and stuff like that. So I'm gonna explain all that. So just in general, right? That D word, right? D just means, like the way I be looking at it, right? Like deducing something, desensitize, deifying. If you're deifying something, that's like idol worship. So it's moving like downward and stuff like that. So that's like your spirit moving down. What's moving down? That's like descending. That's like condensing something, condensing into a mind instead of expanding out of one, condensing into a mind and then condensing into the flesh and stuff like that. Because it's based upon like a spirit, mind, body concept. Look at like your spirit, like the state of being that you in, the space that you in, and it's gonna turn into a mentality, a thought, idea, feeling, emotion based upon your psyche, and it's gonna turn into that adrenaline and blood flow based upon your organs in the flesh, into your physical and material and the external tools and technology that we make from the body, from the flesh, right? So that's like deifying something or something that's moving down or is being decompressed or someone who's depressed and stuff like that. Something that's being descended, someone that's deducing something, that's reducing something, that's condensing something. So look at that as a descending illusion. Delusions are just descending illusions, right? They're illusions that are trying to get descended. If it's descending, that means it's taken from that ascension point of whatever illusion or imagination that is in, is starting to descend into a certain mind frame. I thought I did feel an emotion of some type of thing that you're deifying, and you're trying to get locked into that illusion. You're deceiving yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to make it relative to reality in so much shape or form. Just look at that like a process, like a transition. It only starts to turn into a delusion when you don't know how to turn into some creativity or some type of imagination that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because imagination is just imagery. It's just a mental image. So it's like, look at like a fantasy or like wishful thinking or like a pipe dream or some shit like that, right? Something that look like a vision that only you can see, that look like it's something that's out of this world, and it's based upon your subjective perception and point of view of how you look at the world and stuff like that. Now you have to make that make sense in reality. You have to make it realistic, and then motherfuckers gonna be looking at you like you crazy. But if you know how to have some type of comprehension and awareness, and you want to put in the work to make that dream, that vision that you have in a reality, and get around people who have that same vision, who is in the same space, to make it look like, oh, that's a thing that's possible. And we're gonna keep on expanding that mind frame, expanding that abundance, aka that money, that monetary gain, to make it an actual business, make it something that's actually grounded, make it something that's actually substantial with it, make it like a thing of reality that we can look at, like, oh, okay, this can be like a everyday thing. This thing could be actually created. You know what I'm saying? There's something actually like abundant about that. There's something lucrative about that, right? So just in general, right? let me just sit there and break down just in general, right? How to identify certain behaviors and characteristics when it comes to pointing out if someone is delusional and stuff like that. Now, this is how, and I got a whole list of how you can deduce if someone is delusional or not, right? You have to pay attention to if they're depressed. If they're depressed, it's automatic they're delusional a little bit. Because if you're depressed and stuff like that, that's putting yourself through deep rest. So that's someone who take things real personal. That's someone who likes to internalize things. That's like feminine type of energy and stuff like that. They like to take things in instead of producing something out. They don't like to uh uh try to create another way to expand out of that mind frame. They rather stay stuck inside that type of mind frame, and they can't look outside that box, that mental jail cell cage that they're putting themselves in and stuff like that, right? And then even if they start to say their worldviews and their perception, it's always going to be back and supported by some subconscious mind frame that they have to train themselves to get out of based upon depression, based upon some pessimistic point of view and stuff like that, based upon a pocket of time, a memory, something that's dead, something that's expiring, something that only got lived for a certain point in time, their past. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people, when they're depressed and stuff like that, they focus on what they already done did, the past, instead of trying to make another future. And they try to bring their past to the present, and they keep on living that same moment over and over and stuff like that, like PTSD or some shit like that. So you have to cleanse that and get out of that room, that parameter, that space, and make room for some new shit, a new space, just in general and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You need to stop self-projecting and putting your trash on other people's lawn. You have to cleanse your trash and fulfill that space and build yourself up first. You get what I'm saying? So that's the first way of how you can identify someone delusional. If they're depressed. If they're depressed, automatic, they delusional. Automatic. Because if they're depressed and stuff like that, they want to keep, you know what I'm saying? They want to keep being deeply pressed with that mind frame, that thought, that idea, that feeling, that emotion that they're putting themselves in. Emotions are just specific desires, specific types of feelings. You know what I'm saying? An emoji, this describes a specific type of feeling. If you feeling something, sometimes some people don't know what they feeling and stuff like that. An emotion is you essentially moving. You're moving and being motivated towards that essential specific desire and feeling. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So people who are more depressed, they move so slow in that emotion. It makes you move slow. It makes you not be passionate. It makes you have a lack of creativity, a lack of life, a lack of productivity and stuff like that, a lack of passion, a lack of motivation and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So from you having that lack thereof and stuff like that, it's automatically gonna put you in a delusional mind frame. So you're gonna keep on deceiving yourself, or you're gonna keep on putting yourself in a mind frame of being in self-doubt because you don't want to move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to make it mutable. You don't know how to make it flexible, make it adaptable in so much shape or form, right? Now the second way, right? It's when they always fall for a false idea or belief, right? Now, based upon, because that's just delusion just in general and stuff like that. It's a false idea or belief regarding the self or a person's a people, place, or thing outside the self that is maintained despite indisputable evidence towards the contrary and stuff like that. So if they're delusional, right, despite the fact their life, like look at that as like a motherfucker and stuff like that. They have all the luxury in the world and stuff like that, like material wise and things of that nature, right? But they're in this delusion because they have all that luxury and leisure and stuff like that, right? That they're happy, but you're really not happy inside. That lets you know, based upon the external reference, that don't mean shit. Yes, those things like money and the monetary gain and stuff like that, and that luxury and that leisure, it can put you in a better position based upon you having a convenience and access to certain things, right? But you could also utilize those things as a mental crutch to put yourself in a certain comfort zone to where you end up utilizing that abundant money and monetary gain and stuff like that, and you using it for crashing out type of energies and stuff like that. You're delusional thinking you're gonna utilize something outside yourself, outside your mentality, outside your mind, and you can fulfill it with, you know what I'm saying, like use external things, like doing things from the outside in. For the most part, you're doing things from the outside in instead of doing things from the inside out. No, you have your own perception, subjectivity first. You have your own mind first. That's how you end up being born into existence and have the type of awareness that you have in the first place. You can't utilize something that's gonna come and go like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't utilize something outside yourself to fulfill something inside. No, you have to deal with you inside first. Because at that point, you're just gonna look like which I call a real materialistic type of person and stuff like that. No, you have to be rich in spirit first. You have to really believe that inside yourself first. You have to build up your own self esteem. You need to learn how to turn that wishful thinking or that doubt into something that's creative or some type of imagination and some type of vision that you're real productive in to make that actually happen. So you can cultivate and build yourself up, not go into a comfort zone of something outside yourself and you trying to fulfill it inside. That don't make no sense. You're trying to use something outside yourself to fulfill internal energies. You can utilize external things like a tool to make things more convenient or make things easier, but you can't get lost into using that as a mental crutch and stuff like that. And then a lot of people be using certain thoughts, ideas as a mental crutch, or certain belief systems and spiritual system as a mental crutch, when a belief system is just an extension of what you already are based upon your faith and your trust. But you need to have a lot of faith and trust when it comes to yourself. You need a good relationship and relativity in what's relatable and real to you first, and then the stuff after that come after that, like the things outside yourself. So it's going to be a representation of what you are as an individual, and then it's going to attract towards you based upon what you already admitted and stuff like that. And then you can compare and contrast, is this good for the space that I'm trying to cultivate for myself, and is this healthy or is this not? You know what I'm saying? And then I put this to the side, this person can stay, this person can leave, and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? You start to compartmentalize and find some type of equilibrium, balance state of being to where you can balance the scales type shit. You know what I'm saying? So just in general, like, yeah, like all the way down to belief systems and stuff like that. That could be a mental crutch. You know what I'm saying? And then I know y'all look at me like I'm the spiritual motherfucker because of this, that, and the third. And you telling us we can't believe in something because this, that, and the third. I'm really trying to say y'all need to believe in everything, but also believe in nothing. That's the equilibrium space, because you're believing in something. So you can have a belief. Just in general, you can have a trust, you can have a faith, but that thing has to get proven of that consistency and that reward system that you get out of that. And you can't go just get lost into whatever the fuck anybody telling you type shit. It has to resonate with your spirit first. It has to resonate with your soul first. It has to resonate with whatever you're trying to do based upon your creativity and your productivity. So if it got nothing to do with that and y'all can't share space with each other and y'all ain't in the same space just in general, it's just not really going to work. It's not really going to work for real. But like that's a different topic for real. All right, so another characteristic, right? The act of tricking or deceiving someone, right? So delusion just in general and stuff like that, you're being deluded, you're deceiving and things of that nature, right? So you're in the predicament of you like to manipulate people, or you're in the predicament of being the victim of you always get manipulated. So that lets you know another characteristic of someone being delusional, right? It's the act of tricking or deceiving or deluding someone. So you're either the person who's getting tricked and conned on, you know what I'm saying, swindled on, or you're the type of person who likes to manipulate. That also means you're delusional and stuff like that. And then I know motherfuckers gonna be looking at you like, I ain't delusional and stuff like that. I'm the main motherfucker who manipulated them and make it so I could get my way because of this, that, and the third. Okay, yeah, cool, and stuff like that. And then we can get into the nuance of what you did exactly and what was the intention behind why you did that. But just in general, right? A person who's delusional and always is in that space just in general, right? You always gonna make yourself esoterically robbed in someone's shape or form and stuff like that. And you think you can use some type of manipulation tactic just in general, because men manipulating is just men and women for the most part. So you're manipulating men. You're manipulating masculine and feminine energies. Masculine just means giving something else. Masculine just means like externalizing, and then feminine just means internalizing. Masculine just means like building something, and then feminine just means like holding on to something. Masculine energy would be like perceiving, externalizing something, and then feminine would be like receiving something, being on the receiving end of something, and things of that nature. So from you trying to put yourself in a certain perspective of like deceiving someone, aka making someone deluded in some type of lie based upon what you propped up to them to make it look like it's some type of truth and things of that nature, and things of that nature, right? That's also putting you in the perspective of being delusional and stuff like that. For one, If you're in a more victim perspective of someone doing that to you, you delusional and stuff like that, because you're going to believe in whatever idol worship they make in front of you to utilize you as a manipulation tactic to even do that in the first place. And then also at the same time, the other person is delusional because they like to put people in illusions. They like to make people deluded and swindle into a certain mind frame how to look at it. Now you can compare and contrast what's more positive and what's more negative, but just in general, right? Like positive or negative, aka look at that as like good and bad, right? I'm not trying to make an argument about what's being good and bad, just in general, right? But you're putting yourself in delusion, aka you like to put yourself in a space of deluding others. You get it? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about the energy signature of how to identify someone who's delusional and stuff like that. Now, y'all take that as like, oh, someone who be like lost inside their mind and stuff like that. No, a manipulative person can be delusional. They just like to put themselves in a perspective of putting other people in delusions. You get what I'm saying? Like you like to deceive others, so you're still delusional. You get what I'm saying? Like you like practicing that on others. You like to manipulate others before it start turning to the mind frame of good and bad and positive and negative and stuff like that. That's what you like to do. You like to manipulate. You like making other motherfuckers deceived. You like making other motherfuckers deluded and stuff like that. You like to trick motherfuckers into thinking it's one thing, aka the idol worship, the iconography, the imagery you're trying to put in front of them, some type of desire that they want, some thought I did feeling, emotion, all them D words, all them DE words. You get what I'm saying? You trying to deify something. You know what I'm saying? You trying to condense something. You trying to deduce something. You trying to reduce, condense in a certain mind frame and field and parameters so they stay stuck in that pocket, stay stuck inside that box. You get what I'm saying? It's really just like that. It's just that. It's just that for real. And then last one, how to identify someone delusional, right? They always put themselves in misconceptions and misunderstandings. So you know, like you always know, like, so I'm this can play out in two different ways, right? This can play out how like a person who just dumb as fuck, you know what I'm saying? They lack attention span or comprehension or know-how when it comes to understanding a concept or understanding a concept just in general and stuff like that. Probably a lot of motherfuckers who be watching my videos and stuff like that. AKA, it's a misconception or a misunderstanding. They misunderstand what the fuck they trying to look at for the most part. It's about how they're doing it though. You know what I'm saying? It's how they looking at it. So they always gonna have a misconception or they misunderstand. But it can also turn into a perspective of like, you know, like those people where like you can tell they have some type of intelligence or broad awareness or stuff and things of that nature, right? And because they don't fuck with you for whatever reason that you don't even know why, you can tell they're purposely misunderstanding them. I mean, you can tell they purposely misunderstanding you and things of that nature, right? They're purposely trying to have a misconception. They purposely acting dumb as fuck. But you know, low key, they understand what the fuck you saying, but they just doing that to diminish your character or diminish what the fuck you talking about to make you look like you're unintelligent or you don't know what the fuck you talking about. You look like you're ignorant, like you don't know what the fuck you talking about, but you know that they understand this shit. They just don't want to admit that in front of you just so they can have some type of power over you and things of that nature because they want to look like they God and stuff like that. Oh, they don't all knowing. Oh, they know more than you because of this, that, and the third. Yeah, like that concept. Like both ways. That's both ways. That's still delusional and stuff like that. It's gonna go back into like what I was saying earlier of tricking or deceiving someone or being deluded. No, you like to put yourself into that and you're just self projecting that onto others type shit. So it's like you are purposely being delusional. You're purposely misunderstanding what the fuck I'm talking about. You're purposely trying to have a misunderstanding and a misconception of what the fuck I'm talking about for the most part. So it's still putting yourself in a deified illusion, a descending illusion, just in general and stuff like that. You're trying to be the wolf in sheep's clothing type shit. You know what I'm saying? You trying to act all innocent. You trying to act all nice. You trying to act like, oh, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about. No, you know exactly what the fuck I mean. You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that lets you know they put themselves in a delusion themselves. They be manipulating themselves into doing certain things because things of that nature. I'm not even trying to say it like in a diaphragm, like that's good or bad or anything, right? Because a lot of people would do that when it comes to whatever desires that they have, a dream or a vision or an aspiration, some type of passion, and they always have to get outside their comfort zone, so they have to manipulate and change up their schedule, routine, and pattern of what they used to do, and they have to really be in that illusion though. You know what I'm saying? They have to be in that illusion and really put themselves in that space So to others, it's probably gonna look delusional. You know what I'm saying? It looked like they're trying to condense into a mind into a different type of fantasy world. You know what I'm saying? Illusion. But the only reason they have to do that, you have to do that process just in general to even accomplish any dream, just in general, any type of aspiration that you have. Yeah, like yeah, bro. Like you have to put yourself in that circumstance. You have to put yourself in that circumstance to actually walk the walk and talk the talk type shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to put yourself in that illusion, in that fantasy, in that imagination. Now, just in general, that's how you can identify if someone delusional. Now, you have to take that delusion, aka that descending illusion, and you have to turn that into like you have to turn that illusion, or that doubt into a dream, imagination, or creativity, aka a dream, vision, or fantasy that actually gets played out for the most part. That's also another one that I should have brought up. A person who has a lot of self doubt, they're also really delusional. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to put yourself in a lot of doubt, and that doubt is based upon an illusion and mind frame that you're descending that illusion into to make you be more depressed and stuff like that. But that really goes back into the if a person is really depressed. If you have a lot of depression and stuff like that, that means you have a lot of self-doubt anyway. So it kind of go hand in hand. But just in general, right? You have to turn that illusion, that delusion, and stop deifying that thing and turn it into some type of dream, imagination, or creativity or productivity, aka a dream, a vision, and fantasy that actually gets played out. So you actually have to put yourself in that space of whatever dream or aspiration or passion that you actually want for yourself, and you have to walk the walk and talk the talk and stuff and things of that nature. So you have to put yourself in that perspective of what it would be like if you actually was in that position for real, and then you actually have to start putting more attention span, and put your intentions towards that so you can attract yourself around other individuals who are doing the same thing that you're doing. And then once you attract yourself around other motherfuckers who also paying attention to based upon their intentions and doing the same thing that you're doing and things of that nature, is gonna lead more towards that dream, imagination, and creativity of some type of cultivation or dream and aspiration and vision that you're trying to put yourself in subconsciously and consciously, just in general. So right, it can take you because so just in general, yeah, we are a little bit delusional, but it's just a process though. So when you get lost into that one process of descending illusion and stuff like that, and you end up having a false idea or belief extension of yourself, of how you look at the world and things of that nature, right? You can make yourself in that hellhole pocket of depression and things of that nature, and delusion, just in general. So you have to learn how to put yourself in a more broader space, aka expand, contraction, expand, contraction, expand, contraction, based upon your experiences of what you're observing, and then you being the creator, not a creation of observing and creating another way of how to do that thing just in general, and not be a creation or an observation of what someone else is doing. So you can have your one of a kind, individualized, personalized way of how to go about whatever illusion that you're trying to create into some imagination or creativity or dream or vision. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever space you're trying to put yourself in. So it's just a process though. Like this whole thing just itself is just it's just a process. I'm just describing the descendant illusion process. So you can't you have to sit there and put yourself first and lead the head charge of whatever thing you're trying to do, and then it can descend into what people know you as when it comes to your career and your status and your public persona and stuff like that. But you have to build that energy up inside yourself first, and not get too lost into a certain thought idea or vision, or like a spectrum of how you see yourself. So it starts turning into a certain expectation of how you're supposed to express yourself, when that's a multitude of ways, a multitude of ways. That's like a spectrum and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It don't got to be necessarily in that one way. So just in general, that's just the real magic behind it. Just in general, that's the magic. That's the, you know what I'm saying? That's the musicianship. That's the magic behind it. That's the process behind it. That's the creative perspective behind it. So based upon the parameters of your state of being that you in, and what is your natural natures, right? You can always produce that thing again, not get lost into a certain pocket of that delusion, that death, that you beating a dead horse and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It only being experienced for a certain point in time, and then it's gonna expire. The thing that is being expired, how can you rebuild it and get born into existence again, just in general? So the same way how you look at your inspirations, right? You put yourself in a different type of spiral, which is going to create that inspiration mentality, and it's going to turn it into some solidified circumstance of what's happening in the flesh. And you can use the external tools and technology from the flesh to actually help carry out that thought and idea just in general, and not have a false idea or belief that you're trying to attach your spirit towards that really has nothing to do with your natural energies of what you actually like to do just in general. And then that's it.